What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, this is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today we're going to take a look at Trogdor the board game, and we're going to be doing some burning it in the countryside, burning it in the peasants. This is a cooperative game where you're going to be working as Trogdor to burninate the countryside and the peasants before you get stopped. So let's go ahead and we're going to go step by step. We're going to set the game up, and then we're going to play through a couple of rounds so that you can get a feel for the flow of the game and how the game plays as far as rules. So without further ado, let's ready, set, play. All right, Trogdor, the board game. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up in real time so you can step along with me. I'm gonna go ahead and set the rule book aside, and I'm going to, I'm gonna kind of use a mix of the deluxe and regular components because there are some that I like better in one or the other. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take these right here, and at the beginning, it tells you what setup to use for your first game. Later games, if you want, though, on page 14, you have some alternate ones, and they're labeled by easy, normal, and hard. And then if you want, after that, you can just make random ones, random setups. But we're gonna go ahead and set it up for our first game here. So, let's see, we got a tree stump here, we got a lake down here in the corner, there's a rock right here. It's gonna go beneath the rock, flowers. This is gonna go right above the stump. So there we go, another mountain over here, another tree right there. This pen right here looks to be, must be where we're starting, because I don't see it anywhere else. We have this pretty tree, which is gonna go right there. That bush right there. This other pretty tree, I don't see a picture of that one either. Interesting. I'll go there. Oh, these must be where, yeah, these must be where the, about that. I'm gonna go there. The tree that is like fall. This is gonna go there. Now I see it. This will go right here. There. There, 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 there. Oops. Okay, so that means that this must be the one where we start. Okay, now we'll go ahead and tidy this up a little bit. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pick which Trogdor we want. I'm going to choose the hand-drawn Trogdor with his fire breath. I'll lay him down so he looks cool to you all. Even though laying down means something different in the game, I just think it looks better. Then I'm not really a big fan of the peasants from the deluxe, so I'm gonna grab the fire to put on the peasant's head. And the peasants. I'm gonna grab the Trog meter. Should go ahead and put on the top. I'm not going to use the way better items. I'm just going to use the regular items and keepers. Let's see, we're going to place one here, one here, one here. The rest of them are going to go on the Trog meter. And so is the fire. But I think everything else I'm gonna go ahead and use the deluxe components for, because I think that these huts look pretty cool because they can flip over and be on fire and then flip back to be regular huts. I think that's pretty clever. I like that. So I'm going to keep using those. Alright, so these will start unburninated, which that is the whole point of the game. The goal is to burninate everything here. Place the Trog hammer over there for now. Yeah. Our goal is to burninate absolutely everything on the board. If we do that at any point during the game, success, we win. If we take, every time we get damage, we'll remove these peasants to basically remove them from the game. Once we have no health left, if we take another damage, then we go out in a blaze of glory, which may help us grab victory from the jaws of defeat, or it might just end the game, and I'll explain that a little bit more after we've taken a couple turns. Then we can set the box aside because we have everything we need. We're going to set this card aside because it's just for the mini game that you can play where you stack meeples and stuff up, kind of like Animal Upon Animal, if you know that game, which is a fun kids game, by the way. All right, then we have the Void, which is where peasants go when they die. And on the other side, we have also the Void. All right, so we'll go ahead and shuffle these up. These are going to be your action cards, which give you basically how many actions you can take on a given turn, and also maybe a special ability that you might have at your disposal. And then these are movement cards, which are going to be used for moving people in a couple of different ways. It can either be moving, also moving and spawning, so they do several things. All right, now that that's shuffled, okay, now we are going to go ahead and grab, I guess technically I should have gone through here. You can also just keep them set aside, or in here for, it says to have them set aside, but there's going to be some Trog hammer cards. You're going to go ahead and take those out. But you really could just leave them in there and ignore them until they start to actually take effect, which will be after Trogdor takes his first point of damage. Then these will start taking more of a role because the Trog hammer is going to come on the board. Okay, then you're going to give each player a keeper and item that they're going to get to use, as well as one action card. Once each player has those things, then you're ready to play. Alright, so on your turn, what you will do is draw another action card, and then of the two that you have, you will choose one to play. So you can see on these two, this one lets you take 5 actions, this one lets you take 4 actions, but they give you different abilities. This one right here says that before Trogdor's actions, you may swap one tunnel tile with any tile that doesn't contain a cottage. So you can actually adjust the landscape, which is kind of nice because the tunnels you can actually jump from one to the other, which is pretty useful. And this one says, once this turn, if Trogdor burninates a tile with a stump or rock on it, you gain 4 more action points. That is really good because you can end up taking 8 actions with this card. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this card. So I will go ahead and discard that one. And what that lets me do is use 4 actions. Those actions can be used for either moving, chomping, burrowing, hiding, or burninating. So when we move, Trogdor can't move diagonal unless you happen to have a special ability that lets you. So this could be one of my 4 action points. But I think I'll go ahead and stay right where I am because I think I'm gonna go ahead and burninate so I can gain more action points. So my first action, I'm gonna go ahead and burninate the tile that I'm on. To do that, I just flip it over, and that takes 1 action point. And thanks to my little power that I had this round, I'm going to gain 4 more action points, so now I have 7 more to spend. So what I think I might want to do is basically just move around and burninate as much as I can. But what I think I will do is go over here and burninate this one. So now I've done 1. Oh, I keep turning him sideways. It goes up and down. So I've done 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to go 4, and I'm going to burninate this peasant. Because when you burninate a peasant, what you do is put the fire on their head, and then they run around like crazy. So what you'll do is you will take, oh, this is pretty good because they move quite a bit. You'll take this and you look at the blue side of the card, and you will move along that path with that peasant, and as they run, they're going to burninate everything that they run through. Except that you can't directly burninate some things. Like, Trogdor couldn't just burninate this cottage, because you can't burninate a cottage unless every single tile around it and its tile that it's on have been burninated. Then you can burninate the cottage. So you don't get to do that. Also, you can't burninate the lake with a peasant because it just puts the fire out. The lake can get burninated though, and in order to burninate the lake, you have to burninate the tiles that are north, south, east, and west of that lake. Then you can burninate the lake. Once the lake is burninated though, the peasant can still run to it, and still, if they do happen to run through it, they still put themselves out. Alright, so now I'm going to get to move this peasant along this path. So they're going to go here, and then burninates this tile. And the peasants, knights, everyone else, they can move from one side of the board and they just wrap around. Trogdor can't. Sad, but that's okay. Then, so he's gonna go 1, 2, and burninate here. Then he's going to go up here, and this will burninate the tile, but not the cottage. And it's going to do a chain reaction where this peasant is going to catch on fire as well, which is really nice. And then we are going to go back over here and burninate this tile. Then we're going to go up here, and that actually puts out his fire, which is actually really nice, because whenever we burninate a peasant, if it goes all the way to the end of its path and dies, then it goes in the void and it's out of the game. This way the peasant is still on the board for us to possibly eat, which gives us health back. Not too shabby. So he put himself out, but in running around, he did catch that on fire. So now, oh, and actually, I forgot to actually flip the tile that that peasant started on. All right, so now this one is going to get another path card. So they are going to go north, north, west, west, north. And then he dies. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So far we have only actually done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions. So we have 2 more that we can do. So what we could do is go 3 more that we can do. 1, 2, and then we can actually lay Trogdor down in the cave, which keeps him safe from any knights or any of that kind of stuff that might go through the area. So that was a really, really effective first turn. So after we have taken our actions, which we did burninate, move, burninate, move, burninate, move, burninate, hide. And we got all of this burninated. And we only ended up losing 1 peasant. So quite good. Now, what we're going to do is flip over one of these cards. And this is going to have the peasants spawn. So this says that there needs to be 2 peasants. If there were less than 2 on the board, then you could spawn them at non-burninated cottages. But what this says is southwest. So that means that all the peasants are going to move southwest. So he's going to go like that and there, and he's going to go south and west. Okay? So we're going to use this path here to move the knights and the Troghammer if he was in play, and the archers as well. So it's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, and if they were to pass through a cottage that was burned, then they would repair that cottage. There's also sometimes it'll say move and repair for the peasants, and then whatever tile they end on, they will unburninate. All right, so then this guy's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. And also, if these guys happen to move through where Trogdor was, then they do a damage. Or if I happen to move through where one of they are, then I would take a damage. All right, so then this will go 1, 2, 1, 2. And with the archer, it's important to actually turn them the direction they're facing, because since they moved north-south, that means they're going to fire then north-south. So if I wasn't hiding, this would do a damage to me. Because if I went like this and moved them like there, then their arrows are facing this way, but that's not the way you're supposed to go. So since they're moving west, they're facing east-west, moving west, facing east-west, then they move south, so they aim north-south, move south, and continue aiming north-south, and that's where they will finish. All right, and that is the end of our first turn. Okay, so one of the things that we can do, like this one, our special abilities, the keeper represents basically the person who is, like if you were the zookeeper, you are the keeper of Trogdor. So this person says that I can treat mountain tiles as if they were also tunnels. So I can move from here and go move, and I can go straight to a mountain or tunnel, which is really nice. And that is in play all the time. This one right here is a special item that I can use, and this says that I can use, after I draw a movement card, I can choose the direction of the peasant's movement. And then I would tap this when I use it, and then it says on each of these items has a different way to recharge it. This one says to recharge you whenever Trogdor hides, then you get to untap. All right, so my turn. I will draw an action card, choose one of these. We have another stump and rock, really nice, except for the only stump that is available is this one right here, and if we moved onto there, then we would get damaged because we move on a space with the knight. So we don't really want to do that. So I think I'm going to go with the tunnel warp, since I can't use the other one to the most of its ability. So before Trogdor's actions, you may swap one tunnel tile with any tile that doesn't contain a cottage. Pieces on these tiles move with them, including Trogdor. So I can move myself, any tile that doesn't contain a cottage. So I could go ahead and maneuver a little bit by moving myself. Ooh, this could be good. I could swap it with this. That way I can burninate this and still be able to possibly go burninate that cottage. I think this is going to work really well because surrounding tiles to be able to burninate the cottage does not include the wraparound. So all I need to do is burn this one, then I'm able to burninate a cottage, which is really nice. So I have 5 actions. My first can be to move here. Second will be to burn that. Third, fourth, fifth. So there's our 5 actions. I'm pretty pleased with that. And draw a movement card, you can choose the direction of the peasant movement. All right, well, that doesn't change too much. So now I may end up taking my first point of damage, we'll see. So peasants are going to go north and repair. North and repair. Sweet, didn't do anything. And only one of them, there's already 2 out. So we're good there. All right, movement path, knights. South, south, west, west, south. South, south, west, west, south, and then south, south, west, west, south. No damage. Awesome. Okay, pretty innocuous round. Now we get to go again. Shot put. After Trogdor's actions, he may burninate a tile, peasant, or eligible cottage from up to 2 tiles away in any single direction. That's pretty sweet. All right, I think, but we got one that finished there again in my way. So I can't really do the stump and rock. Okay, well, then I guess I will do the shot put. So I have 5 actions. I will go... I'm gonna go 1, 2, and then I will burninate this guy. So that'll be 3. So for action number 3, let's go ahead and see where he's gonna run. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we flip over these two, and that one there. And then he dies. All right, so that was, see, I went 1, 2, 3, so I have 2 more actions. I think, let's see, I think I'm gonna stay here and pass the rest of my actions, and then use my shot put to burninate this cottage. Actually, no, it does say eligible cottage, so maybe that's not what I thought it meant. Okay, well in that case, I still think that I'm going to hide, but I'll use shot put to burninate this peasant as well. Actually, no, that's not good, because then I'm going to start having to remove them from there. So I will just go ahead and burninate this tile. Okay, and I'm hidden, which means I'm not going to take damage, which I like. All right, then he's going to move no new peasants. Excellent. He's going to move southeast. Then movement paths. We're going to go 1, so south, west, west, south, south, west, west, south, south, west, west, south. So I actually wouldn't have taken damage there because the archers don't do damage as they move through. Wherever they finish is where they're going to end up doing damage. So that worked out just fine. Okay, at this point I think you've seen pretty much how the game is going to play. The Troghammer. So what I've kind of been doing is making sure I don't take damage, that way this nasty guy doesn't come out. But I also still need to be careful, because if a whole bunch of peasants come out, which, I mean, even if it said to bring out there needed to be 4 peasants, there's only 2 cottages available, so only 2 new ones would come out for a total of 3. So having the cottages burned down helps that. But when the Troghammer, whenever you do take damage, he comes out, he activates, if you draw a Troghammer card, then you'll draw one of these movement cards and he'll activate. So if you happen to draw them because they are going to be mixed in with your action cards, then you're going to end up having him move possibly 2 or more times per round. So he becomes extra dangerous. So you'll continue playing until either everything is damaged, or if everything's burninated, or if these peasants, if it ends up that there's just a whole bunch of them are in the void and every single one of them is out, and then you end up taking 1 last damage. Then what you will do as a last gasp effort, you will take 5 cards for these, and these are going to move Trogdor wildly around the countryside, and he's going to, it says in the game that Trogdor does not lose a game, he rage quits. So we'll do these one at a time. You would take this, and I would go north, north, east, north, and that will burninate these. And when you do this for your final action, the peasants do not get to run around wild. You also don't have to worry about the like the restrictions for the lake or cottage. They just get burned. So that's 1 card. And this one says to go west, south, I'm sorry, east, south, southeast. That's a bummer. Didn't get anything burninated. This one goes north. Excellent. Oops. North, and then you actually do the wraparound now. You can't wrap around with Trogdor during the game, but you can wrap around now. And you don't have to worry about damage anymore either. He actually burninates even the knights and everybody because he's on a rampage. There. Excellent. So we burninated another of those and those. Then we would turn over another one of these, and we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and burninate the lake. Yeah, we made a lot of progress, but I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this. Then we're going to go south, south, east, east. And unfortunately, we didn't end up burninating everything else. But that is how you're gonna play. So you're either gonna play until Trogdor takes all of his damage and then goes out in his blaze of glory, either for a lose or win, or you're gonna play until you have burninated everything on the map. Now you should have a pretty good idea of how to set up and play through Trogdor the board game, a game of burnination, majesty, and consummate V's. If you want to know more about Trogdor the board game, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if you have any comments, questions, requests. You can also find a link in the description section to my unboxing of Trogdor the board game, and you can also find there a link to macronovaGames.com where you can buy hundreds of great games. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, have a wonderful day.